Are you ready to turn heads? Luxury isn't just worn, it's experienced. Introducing a Layla Cara style and new up-and-coming designer collection where exclusive shoes and bags for men and women meets your feet. How about you take a handbag and wear it in style, where each piece is personally designed by Alayla Carroll herself and handcrafted from the finest material in Italy. Leather, smooth like butter, bold, timeless, distinctly you. Step into true elegance and make your mark with a Layla Cara style where confidence meets craftsmanship. Visit a Layla Cara style and experience the luxury of art that you wear. Welcome back to Improving Your Thoughts by Freeing Yourself. I'm your host, Alayla Carroll. And today we're talking about something that some people feel awkward about, but really shouldn't. Doing background checks without being creepy. That is the title for today's episode. Today we're learning the art of background checks on your date without coming off as obsessive or paranoid. Knowing a little about your date before deep emotional investment is smart, not suspicious, okay? How to do background checks on dates without coming across as obsessive or paranoid. How do you do this? Knowing a little about your date before you invest emotionally, mentally, or even financially is not being sneaky. It's being wise. It's being safe. And it's being responsible with your heart and with your future. We live in a time where people can present any version of themselves online. And while most people mean well, some don't. So today's episode is about helping you protect yourself while still dating with an open heart. By the end of this episode, you will know why background checks matter. If they can do a background check on you, on your job, why can't you have a background check on someone dealing with the matters of your heart and your life? So by the end of this episode, you will also know how to check discreetly. What not to do, because you can mess it up. I'm telling you, you can mess it up real bad if you don't know what to do. So you're gonna learn what not to do, and you're gonna learn how to ask questions without sounding like an investigator. And also, you're gonna learn how to tell when something doesn't add up. So let's get into it. It's going to take a little while because I got a lot of information I want to share with you. So I want you to get a pen and paper out because you're about to take some notes, and we're gonna save your life. We're gonna save your finances. We're gonna save your heart. We're gonna save your time, your emotions. So if you're one of the ones that don't want to lose out on what you work so hard for, this episode is for you. But you want to still love and find love, this episode is for you. Okay? So let's get into it. Why background checks matter. Let's start with the big question. Why does it matter? Why? Well, Because dating is not just emotional, it's also physical safety. It's also financial safety. And it's also future safety. When you date someone, you're giving them access to your time, your emotions, your personal information, sometimes even your home if you invite them over, or even if you invite them to move in with you. Sometimes your money, if you get serious with them and you start opening up your wallet to them, and eventually your family. You got children, you have siblings, your parents, your best friends. Oh yeah, best friends and family too. All right? That that means it's wise to know who you're dating before you get attached. Now, let's make something clear because I want to clear some things up. There is a difference between curiosity and control. Curiosity says, I want to understand who this person is. Control says, I know I need to track everything they do. So you don't want to do that. So please be aware of why are you doing the background check. Question yourself on that first. If it's because of curiosity, then let's keep going. If it's because of control, let's stop right here. All right? Curiosity protects you. Control becomes obsessive. And it becomes obsession. And you don't want that. What we are talking about today is healthy curiosity. Let me tell you a story about a woman named Samantha. She met a man online. He told her he worked in finances, traveled for business, and had never been married. She didn't accuse him of lying. She didn't even interrogate him. She simply did a light check. She looked at his LinkedIn page and she noticed that the job history didn't match what he told her. Now, sometimes we don't put that information out there. I know, like with me, on my LinkedIn page, I don't have a lot of the stuff that I talk about with being a flight attendant. I actually have my business for my shoes and stuff, but I will talk about that. I also have imaging coaching. I will also talk about that. So with him, he didn't have anything dealing with finances on his LinkedIn page at all. She asked a mutual friend of hers that knew him about him. She wanted to know more about him. So she started asking people that knew him, hey, who is this guy? What's going on with him? And what she found out was that he had got fired from his job and that he had a reputation for lying. She didn't confront him dramatically. She didn't go all into all that, okay? She just said, you know what, this ain't gonna work. So she simply just decided to discontinue dating him. She just cut him off. She ghosted him. It is what it is. Sometimes you do have to ghost a person, especially if they lie a lot. If they're not truthful, they don't deserve you having to give them an explanation on why you don't want to talk to them anymore. Just ghost them. Especially if you haven't given up too much information about your whereabouts, where they can find you at. So, ghost them. Anyway, that simple check that she did, it saved her emotional heartbreak. It also saved her a financial risk because the man didn't have a dang on job. And then it also saved her months of confusion because she was going to go through it. This is why I'm teaching you how to date correctly. And this is also why background checks matters. This is why it's important. See, she did a background check by asking a friend about him. And that's what you can do as well. It ain't always about going into the criminal history and putting up their report, police report, stuff like that. It ain't always about that, but it does also include that. I'm going to let you know. So if someone is honest with you, doing a background check, it won't hurt. So I want you to know that you're not trying to be a detective. What you're doing is trying to be discernment in motion. All right? If someone is dishonest, a light background check will expose them. That's the reason why you need to do a light background check on them. So how to do a background check discreetly? How do you check? How do you do this discreetly? Now, let's talk about how you can do this the right way. First, what you want to do is, this is why I say take a pencil and get some paper. Let's write this stuff down, all right? What you want to do first, I'm going to take my time so you don't miss anything. First, you want to check their social media. That's always a great place to start, all right? So, social media reviews, check and see what people are talking about. What kind of responses are they having with other people online? If their social media is private, how did y'all meet? Did you meet online? Because if you met online, then it shouldn't be on private. But if you met in person somewhere at the gas station, grocery store, an event, then you should ask them for their social media when you're talking to them. Hey, you have a Facebook page? Let's connect on Facebook sometimes. I would like to be able to connect. They say, oh, I don't do Facebook. Well, then do you have a social media at all? And they might tell you, I have a LinkedIn page. Okay, cool. Let's start there. And I would like to share my social media with you because sometimes I'm not always going to be available on my phone, but I do check my social media. And that's just a way to get in, okay? I'm teaching you how to get in. All right. So you're not a stalker. You're not going to be stalking them. That's what you don't want to do. You're observing what they choose to show to the world. You need to know what they're showing to people. You also want to look for, does their lifestyle match what they say to you? Are they consistent? Or there are lots of different identity going on between what they're telling you as well as what they have on their platform, because people do act like they something online and be another way in person. It's called catfishing. So you want to make sure you ain't getting catfish. Even though you met the person already in person, you want to still see what they got going on the virtual reality world, in that world. Okay. You also want to know, do they hide their relationship status while acting married online? Because some people can be married, but they don't show that they're married. And that's a problem. Even though people think they're protecting their spouse, but I'm married. I let it be known I'm married because I have guys coming at me quite often on TikTok. My husband's not on TikTok. So I do post him sometime on my TikTok just to let it be known I am very married. And then even though I have him there, the guys say still try. And I tell them, hey, I'm married. And then they still try. And even though they still try, I'm like, look, maybe one day you'll find your bride, but baby, I'm already a bride. Let's go ahead and end this conversation right now. So you want to know these things about these people, and you want to know if this person is capable of doing that with you, because if you end up being with this person, he might or she might not want to expose you as their husband or as their wife. So you want to know how open and transparent this person is. They ain't got to share everything. And please, you don't want, that's another thing you want to make sure. Do they share everything? Because sometimes you can overshare. And you don't want that either. So the second thing you do after you have done the social media, now you want to do a Google search for public records. That's a reason why they're public. for anybody to see. So you're not stalking them. You need to know what's out there on them. So you want to do a Google search. How do you do this? So what this is going to include is their name, the city that they live in, and some of the cities that they used to live in, and states as well. That's why you question and have a lot of conversation when you're dating, because you're going to find all this information out. Like, it's you like basically you like, hey, is Chicago the only state that you lived in? No, I used to stay in California. Oh, you did? What part of California? Oh, I stayed in you know, what is it? One of them cities out there, LA or Los Angeles or Pasadena. You're like, oh, how long did you stay in Pasadena? Oh, I stayed out there for like 4 years, Now you're starting to get some information. Keep that information, because you're going to want to also know, what did you do out there? What did you work? Yes. Where did you work at? I worked at this place. Oh, man, how was it? Did they pay well? That's when you can ask, I heard California is expensive. Do they pay well? Like, how is the, basically, I'm showing you how to do this, right? So you're like, how is the economy? Do they pay what the economy is worth? Because, California's expensive. And they be like, yeah, sometimes they do. In my job, it paid me pretty well. What did you do at your job? Okay, I was a security officer, or whatever the case may be. These are the things that you want to kind of like get into a conversation about, to get all that information so you can do a Google search, a public record on them. So you want to get their name. You want to get their name. So you want to get the cities that they was in. You want to get their jobs. You want to also know the business that they was working at. If they have a business, what business that they have. And you want to check the court records, because they might have a criminal history. You want to know about that as well. If it's accessible in the area where you are living at, because it might not be even on there. Or you might have to pay an extra $1 or $10 or $30 to get this information. It is worth it. The $30 is worth it. Pay it to get the information, to know who you are dealing with. And this is for anybody that you like. You find them attractive. You can see yourself with them, and you would like to take the relationship further. Then you do this background check on them, okay? And what you're looking for, you're not looking for perfection. No one is perfect. You're going to find some flaws somewhere in their record. And you're also looking for consistency. Whatever they're telling you, is it adding up to what you're finding on them? So now the third thing you want to do, this is the third check you want to do. You want to find out who are their friends. If you have mutual friends together, they are the great person to go to. But if you don't have mutual friends together, you want to try to find out who are their friends. You can find some of those friends online. If you go into their social media, you can find some of their friends online. And what you do is, this is one of the safest ways to get information. You don't want to gossip. Don't do that. Don't be gossiping about the person. You don't want to be gossiping about them, so don't do that. But you want to ask simple questions, and you can simply say to anyone that's on social media that you might think that they have the most connection to. You can say, hey, do you know this person? And they're going to say, yeah, that's my cousin, or yes, that's my coworker, or yeah, we've been Facebook friends for about 3 years, or whatever. And then you can say, what's your experience been like with them? And then they're going to probably say, why? Because I started dating them, and I just wanted to know if they're a good person, or have they been kind to you? Because I just don't want to date someone that's not kind. All right. So what kind of person are they? And then they can start telling you. Now, online is hard to get the body language, but if you do it in person with a friend that you're talking to about them, what I want you to do is take notice of their response. Do they pause? Do they hesitate? Do they warn you? If you are warned, you better take that information and you better run with it. Okay? Because sometimes what people don't say says the most. Now, let's talk about what not to do. All right? Do not hack their account. Do not do that. Don't log into their account at all. Don't demand their passwords because that is invading privacy, which you want them to do that to you. And don't secretly follow them. Don't be trying to follow them, creating a fake page. You want to, people do that. Create fake pages to follow the person and see if they can see what they're posting and everything. Yeah, this is a little too much. That's not good. And you don't want to track their location. Don't do that at all because that's crossing into control. And we are not trying to control them. We're trying to get to know them, all right? So here's a healthy exercise for you. I want to give you another assignment to do. I want you to create a simple dating verification checklist. And this is what you're going to write down. You're going to write down their first name. You're going to write down their last name. If you can get their middle name, write down their middle name because a lot of times people do use their middle initials. Then you're going to write down general job or the field that they're working in. What city do they live in? And their marital status. If they say they're single, you want to find out if they're really single. Because marital license they are public. You can find that out if they're married or not. And then you also want to find out, do they have children? How many children do they have? A lot of the times when a person has so many kids, they try to not tell you exactly how many they have up front. Sometimes they might have 10 kids and they'll tell you they only have 5 when they actually have 10. And that's to not run you away. That's still bad. Even if they tell you later on after you find out they have 10. The reason why I only told you I have 5 because I didn't want to scare you. No, that is a distrust. Because if you really as an honest person, you wouldn't hide the fact that you have 10 kids. You'd be proud to say, I am a father of 10 or I am a mother of 10. This is just the way my life is. Take it or leave it. Because the one that's for me will accept all 10 of my children. So you want to make sure that they don't sit there lying to you about how many kids they have or baby mamas and stuff like that, because that is something that they cannot hide forever. It will come out at some point. Even if it's at their funeral, it's going to come out. Okay? Then you want to also write down the basic lifestyle that they have. Are they travelers? Do they like to travel? Are they stable?
We'll be back after a quick break.
If you haven't already, check out my luxury shoe and bag collection, a Layla Cara style. Each piece is personally designed by me and handcrafted from genuine Italian leather. Whether you're dressing up or keeping it casual, these pieces were made to help you walk with confidence. Because real style starts from how you feel. Go to alaylacarolstyle.com and experience these bold, timeless, and completely all you. Check it out. You might find something you like. What kind of party life do they have? Are they party people or homebody people, etc., etc.? Write those things down. You are not trying to invade their privacy. You are simply making sure what they say line up with reality. All right? This checklist is not something for you to share with them. They do not need to know about this list. You do not want them to know about this list. After you have verified everything, and if all of it is consistent and is true, and you're able to say, okay, this person is exactly who they told me they are, tear the checklist tear the checklist up and get rid of it, because you don't want them to come across it later on in your dating world and be like, what is this? Why you got all my information written down? And then here you are 10 months in and you trying to like, well, in the beginning I had to do a background check. And they like, what the crap? That's not cool. So that's the reason why you don't want them to know about the list, because everybody is not comfortable with knowing that you're doing this type of thing to them, even though they would do it to a so-called future employer, because all these jobs do background checks in order for them to get the job. So if they're so quick and easy to give all of the information up on themselves to their so-called potential future boss, but can't do it for the love of their life, that's a problem. So anyways, that's the reason why you want to do the background check, and you want to tear it up when you have found out all the information you need. You do not want to let them see it, all right? This checklist is not something that you're going to share with them. I'm going to say that again. So it's something that you're going to protect yourself from self-deception. You're protecting yourself from self-deception. That's what you're doing with the list. Keeping them from lying to you. And then you find out some things about them that destroys your world later on that could have been avoided. That's the main reason for the background check. Because here's the truth. When you like someone, when we like people, we tend to fill in the blanks for them. We do. We start writing down things in our own mind about this person that ain't even true. Make up all kinds of fantasies about this person in our head. Not even true. We excuse missing information that they didn't even give to us that we need. We assume good intentions when it's not good intentions. And we explain away contradiction. We're quick to do that. Defend them. And knowing that we should be paying more attention to that situation that occurred. All right? A checklist keep you grounded in facts, not fantasies. All right? You also want to not allow yourself to get wrapped up in this background check, because you can overly get wrapped up into it to where it does start consuming you, and you don't want that. All right? Now let's talk about timing, because there's a time frame for this. You don't just do it right off the back. You need to, but you also don't take all forever either. You don't need to do a deep dive after the very first text message that you get from a person. You don't want to do that, okay? But you also don't want to wait 6 months either. 6 months is too long. 3 months is too long. 2 months is too long. You start doing this within the first month, okay? So a good rule is, after a few conversations that you have with the person, before emotional attachment begins, before obsessiveness, before you start feeling like you need to be exclusive, all right? Don't want to be exclusive without doing this background check. Oh, you're my boyfriend. Oh, you're my girlfriend. It's just me and you. No, you need to do this background check before you do all that. And definitely before your finance start mixing, before you start giving out money, okay? And intimacy. Before you have sex, you need to know who you're dealing with. Before you give up the goods, the good, all right? Because that's the sweet spot. And you don't want to give that up right away before finding out who the person is. Because what if, and this happens a lot. Oh, this happens so much, especially to us women. We don't even give ourselves an opportunity to get to know a man, and we didn't gave up the goods and he didn't hit that sweet spot and had us going ooh 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 wee, and then before you know it, we like, I don't give a damn who he is, I don't care what kind of person he is, as long as he keep giving me that good. Then you emotionally attached to him sexually, and then you find out later that he's a bum, that he don't have nothing, that he don't want to work, that he have 10 kids, 20 kids, different mothers, all of them, 20 baby mamas, and now you're making excuses to stay with him because the dick is that damn good. You see what I'm saying? That's why you do not give up the goods before you find all this information out. You gotta find this information out first. That is going to save you the heartache down the line. It's also going to keep you from giving up your money and opening up your home to this person and allowing this person to manipulate you and get all this information out of you that he can use. Or, hey, even women do this to other women. So please find this information out. Women do this to men. So some of you guys, before you give yourself to the woman, you got to know who you're dealing with. Don't be allowing yourself to be emotionally attached to someone before you mentally, intellectually get to know them. This is why getting to know a person is so important. And remember this, if someone is offended, if you want to know who they are, that's already information. That is a red flag. And we just talked about that in the last episode, what red flags are. Healthy people don't fear transparency. They welcome clarity. All right? They welcome it. They're okay with it because they know you ain't going to find anything. Anything you're going to find about me is everything I already told you. I'm an open book. I already opened up the pages for you and let you see what was there. You got a chance to read my chapters because I told you about them. Forget about reading them. You was on Audible. I gave you the information. That's what a person who's healthy and that is also honest is like. And sometimes who reacts, if you get some people who reacts defensively to a normal curiosity, that may be something going on with that person, and I'm guarantee you they're hiding something. And sometimes you don't even have to find out. If a person is not open enough for you, just let it be known. Hey, I like to know who I'm dealing with, and until I can actually be comfortable enough to know you, we can't go any further than this. And walk away from the situation. Trust me, there are other people out here in the world that will treat you way better than that person that you're dealing with, and that will be open for you to know them. Okay? So asking questions to confirm information. Now let's talk about that. Let's talk about how to confirm information without sounding like an FBI agent. Because some people go on these dates, man, and they get to asking these questions like they're interrogating them, like the person committed a crime. And that is not great. It's not right. So don't interrogate the person. You want to converse with them. Just have a conversation, back and forth dialogue. That's all you want. But you can get all the information you need if you just listen. And you ask the right question the right way. So I'm going to give you some examples on how to do that. So these are what I call soft verification questions. You ask them naturally and casually, not uptight and all tensed. Okay? So for example, instead of saying, I'm going to tell you what you should not say, and then I'm going to tell you what you should say. Okay? So instead of saying, where exactly do you work and how much do you make? This is what you will say. What do you enjoy about your job? Listen carefully to the answer, and they're going to tell you off the bat where they work at before they even start telling you what they like about the job. Now you got the company they work at. Now you get a chance to see what they do, all right? And then you're going to ask the question after. You're going to let them talk. Don't cut them off. When they finish, then you're going to ask the question, how long have you been doing it? How long have you been doing this? They might already give you that answer before you even get a chance to ask this question. That's why you want to let them finish talking. Then you're going to ask another question. What got you in that field? Like, what started you there? How did you get in that field? And then you're going to listen. Because if they really do what they say they do, they're going to have a lot of information for you. And if they don't, they're not going to have a lot, and they're going to cut it off real short. And then you can also go and do a soft background check and find out if that's what they actually do. So here's another question you don't want to say, you want to avoid, okay? Instead of saying, are you really single? Because you might see somebody who look good, they sitting in front of you, and you're like, man, this person can't be single. He is too fine to be single, or she is too pretty to be single. No, don't ask that question. Instead, what you're going to say is, how long have you been single? Get the answer. And then you're going to ask, what did you learn about your last relationship? Because you want to see if they're going to take accountability. All right? For anything that happened in their relationship, what did you learn about it? All right? So here's another question to avoid. Instead of asking, do you have kids you haven't told me about? Don't do that. Don't do that, okay? Because when you're calling them a liar, and that's going to create tension. So don't do that. So what you say instead, you say, do you see yourself having children one day? And then they can say, well, I already have some kids, or I have enough kids, and then they can start telling you how many kids they have, or they might say, yeah, I would love to have children one day. I don't have any kids right now. One day I would love to have some kids. Or they might just say, look, I don't have any kids, and I'm not planning on having any at all. And you get a chance to see if you need to continue a relationship, especially you ladies who want kids, especially you guys who want kids. Now you got the answer of, should you continue even dating this person if they say they don't want kids, knowing in your heart of hearts that you want to be a parent one day. You would love to have kids of your own. That's why you start asking these type of questions early. Then you also, here's another question you can ask. You can say, what does family look like to you? Because somebody might tell you, well, about maybe 4 or 5 kids, a wife, a husband, that's family to me. Or another person might say, well, me and my dog and my girlfriend, my boyfriend, that's family to me. And you're like, oh, okay, so you don't really see yourself having children one day. You didn't say anything about kids. And then you find out that way they don't really want to have kids. Now you can get into that conversation. You can ask, so you don't want to have kids, why don't you want to have children? And they might explain to you why they don't. Now for me, I always wanted to have kids. I always wanted to have kids. And I've always made it clear who I was dating that I wanted to be a mother. And I would date guys who had kids already. And if one particular guy, I actually stopped dating him because he told me he had a vasectomy. I was like, we're not going no further than this. Because you're wasting my time and my eggs. I'm out. And he didn't have no idea why I dumped him. He found out I dumped him when I started dating someone else, and he got mad about it. And he was like, oh, so you seeing someone else already? I was like, yep, I sure am. And he was like, so you just weren't going to tell me, huh? I said, dude, we just not compatible, okay? I just moved on. We're not compatible. And then he went on and said some other words to me that wasn't nice. And I was like, okay, I'm glad I did leave you alone. You just showed me something about you that let me know we weren't going to make it anyway. I was right. We're not compatible. So you want to listen up early, all right? And I was adamant about having children, even though I found out later that I had a problem that I couldn't just conceive them on my own. But eventually I adopted, and now I got a son. It is what it is. I was serious about that. I wasn't going to let nothing stop me from that either. That's why you got to be real serious about dating correctly, all right? So what you're doing is you're listening for not perfection. you're listening for consistency. People who are telling the truth stay consistent. People who are lying shift their stories. They don't always tell the same story the right way, the same way at that. So now let me tell you about Michael. Michael had been dating a woman who told him she grew up in Chicago and moved for work. Something about her story felt off to him. He met her online, and something about her story, it felt off. So instead of accusing her, he continued to just ask casual questions to get more answers. He asked her, "What high school did you go to? What neighborhood did you grow up in? And what made you leave Chicago?" She suddenly became uncomfortable because he was asking questions that she couldn't answer. She changed the subject, and then she started hesitating about continuing with talking about that, even though he continued to bring it up. That hesitation, it didn't prove that she was lying, but it did confirm Michael's intuition. He asked her the same questions twice, but in different ways. That's how he started doing it. And later he found out that she actually was living with a boyfriend in another state, not the state she told him that she had moved to, and that she was pretending to be single. He found that out. So what saved him was he continued to ask the questions in the right way. He did exactly what he needed to do. There was no confrontation and there was no control. It was just curiosity and observation. He just knew something wasn't right with her story. We always get certain things like that. The problem is that we cover it up, we ignore it, or we cover it up. And the way we cover it up is by making excuses for it. That's something that you should stop doing. That's not your job to do. It's to make excuses for something that is quite not making sense to you. You have to investigate, all right? That is how you protect yourself without being paranoid. Another thing to watch is how the person react to your curiosity. So you want to watch how they're reacting to you, because healthy response, when a person is, you're asking them questions and stuff like that, when a person is able to give you a real response about where they're from, where they grew up at, where they live, if they're single, all these things, a healthy response sounds like this. "Oh yeah, I lived in Chicago for over 30 years or over 15 years, and man, it's cold here, but at the same time we have some beautiful warm days." I mean, they start getting into the real conversation of things and helping you. Also, they will, here's another response. They will say, "Yeah, I've been at that job for 5 years." Or I grew up downtown or near downtown. We got a loft or whatever. And my parents lived downtown because my dad had a great job. Or, "Hey, man, we was poor. We did not have any money. I'm sorry. I grew up and yeah, it's embarrassing, but I used to be hungry a lot." And they'll be able to come up with some real information for you. And also, if they're single, they're like, "I've been single for like 2 years now. I'm ready to date again." They'll be able to just be in the moment with you. But unhealthy responses sounds like this. "Why are you asking me that? You're being nosy. What, you don't trust me?" So they start getting defensive, all right? That's emotional deflection. Curiosity is not disrespect. It's discernment. Now, here's another exercise I want to give to you. I want you to write these things down. Write 3 soft questions you can ask on your next date. Write it down. I want you to remember them So that way you will know what to ask for. Here's some examples. I'll give you 3 examples of what you probably can use. And if you want to use these for yourself, go right on ahead. Okay, so question number 1, you want to ask, what's your favorite part about your job? That lets you in to what they actually do. Okay. And number 2, what does a normal week look like for you? That gives you insight on their hobbies as well as their routine. And then number 3, what are you hoping to build for your life right now? That gives you the future of where they're building, what they're building for their future. All right. These questions reveal lifestyle, honesty, priorities, as well as emotional maturity. You're not interviewing them. I hate dates that feels like an interview. That's sorry for me. I remember when I told this last time on the first episode, when I started dating and I didn't want to be in a relationship. All I wanted to do was date to see what I liked in people and what I didn't and what I wanted, because I really didn't know what I was looking for in a relationship. Those dates over time started feeling like interviews because I started asking the same questions a lot. I was getting the same questions asked back to me, and I was basically repeating myself. And I said, oh, I got to a point where this was annoying. So I remember having 2 dates in one day. I went to Starbucks, had a coffee date with this one guy, and I told him, I say, I got another date later on tonight. And he was like, surprised that I even mentioned it. And I said, yeah, we're going to go out to dinner. And he was like, so you're dating me and dating someone else? I said, look, I'm not in a relationship. I'm single. And matter of fact, I'm not looking to be in a relationship. I just want to know what I like. And I'm not sure right now. And at that time, I was in my 30s. I was about, 32, 31, 32. I knew I was in the early 30s. And I said, I don't even know what I like. I need to know who and what I like, because I've been dating since high school. And when I graduated from high school, I got engaged, and I moved in with my fiance and his mother, and that's what I knew. And then when we broke up, we didn't even get married. I got into another relationship with my first husband, and then my second husband. And like I was basically like, I don't know what I want, and that's the reason why I dated the way I dated during this period that I had free. And I started learning so much about myself, and I realized I got irritated quick with people who was trying to control me. I got irritated. I remember I went on a date with this guy, and this happened multiple times, but this one particular guy, I remember him telling me, I don't want you to work. He said, whoever I'm dating is not going to work. And I said, oh, really? And you would think that would be music to the girl's ears, but it wasn't music to my ears, because I went through that with my first husband. At the time when we got married, he wanted me to stop working. And I remember all the things I went through in that marriage with him controlling the money. And I literally had a flashback, and I was like, oh no, we're not going to do this. And then I remember I dated this other guy. He was a firefighter, and I liked him, but I was starting to work at the prison. I hadn't really started the job yet. I was going through training through the academy, and I was already in the academy, and he told me, I don't want you to be a correctional officer. You need to find a different job. And I'm thinking like, dude, we just started dating. How you gonna tell me what you want me to do and don't do? You're not paying my bills. I live by myself at this time too. I'm paying my own bills. You got your own situation going on. I have my situation going on. What in the world possessed you to tell me to quit that job? I said, you going to pay my bills? And he was like, well, you can move in here with me in my house. I said, oh, heck no. I mean, he had a beautiful home and everything. He really did. Had a nice home. And I was like, he said, I even got another car you can have. And I was like, what the heck? And you know the thing about that? I wasn't looking for a relationship. It's so crazy and ironic when I'm not looking for something, it comes to me. But when I am looking for that, I don't find it. And I was like, here it is. Two guys I met recently want to take care of me, but I've been through this already. My first husband, he bought me a car. He paid all the bills, but he controlled the money. So whenever I wanted to go buy something, an outfit, some clothing, I had to run it by him. If he didn't like the outfit, I couldn't buy it. Oh, I was like, we're not doing this. So it comes with a price, is what I'm saying. So those are the things that you have to also pay attention to as well. You gotta know what you want. So you don't want to interview people, all right? You want to listen to them. You want to listen because that's what I did. I was listening because I knew I had to know who in the world am I sitting in front of? Who's this person? So we're going to go ahead and close this out. So today we've learned that background checks are not about control. It's about clarity. They protect your heart, your time, your safety, and your future. It also protects your family. We've learned why they matter, how to do them discreetly, what not to do, how to ask natural questions, not interrogating questions, how to observe reactions, and how to use consistency as a guide. And remember this, I want you to remember this. If someone is honest, your curiosity will not threaten them. It will not threaten them, okay? And if someone is dishonest, your curiosity will expose them. So when they get exposed, you need to take note immediately. And that is your cue to figure out to stop dating them. You are not wrong for wanting to know who you are dating. You are wise for it. And you are a fool to not know who you're dating. So for the next episode, episode 4, we're going to learn how to detect lies and dishonesty and why we need to know these things about people early. So yes, we're going to go deeper. We're going to be talking about how to recognize inconsistency, body language versus words, manipulation tactics, and how to tell when someone and how to tell when something just doesn't add up. All right. I'm going to teach you these things. All right. Yes. So if you ever felt like someone is lying to you and you cannot prove it, but you just want to know, I'm telling you the next episode is for you. This is going to help you to figure that out. I know there are some people who are great at telling when a person is lying because they're going to pay attention to all the signs I'm going to teach you. That's why. Because they pay attention to every sign I'm going to be teaching you about how to detect when a person is lying to you and being dishonest. All right? So today, I just want to say thank you for spending the time with me. And if this episode helped you, I want you to share it with someone who is dating so they can be just as wise as you are, because safety is something that we all deserve. I am Alayla Carroll. Alayla Carroll is my name. And this is improving your thoughts by freeing yourself. Remember, curiosity protects you. Discernment guides you, and wisdom keeps you safe. Signing out, Alayla. Are you feeling overwhelmed and exhausted by stress? Introducing stress management with imaging coaching. your ticket to a calmer, more balanced life. In this journey you will be taking with us here at Imaging Coaching, we'll equip you with powerful techniques and tools you can use to conquer stress, regain control, and transform your life. From deep breathing exercises to mindfulness practices, you'll discover the tools to relax your mind and body. Come join us on this transformative path and unlock a world of inner peace and resilience. Don't let stress hold you back any longer. Take charge of your well-being today with Imaging Coaching, your stress management team. Discover clarity. Defeat stress through Imaging Coaching at imagingcoaching.com. At imagingcoaching.com. At imagingcoaching.com. At imagingcoaching.com.